However, they have like been, I think, doing some scrimming and stuff like that. I'm not too sure. Either way, we will see the results of whatever they've been cooking up, I'm certain, when we head into game here. And I know that Fwii and Sam and Phil like to stack as much as they can too when they're streaming some Unite. So I'm sure that the coordination's going to be there.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be there indeed. Going for the Urshifu, though, keeping that out of the hands of Cursed Team, which I honestly thought you had CT, but it's actually GT that you have there, of course. And YouTube, are we going to get demonetized for that? No, I'm just kidding. There's no shot. So, I mean, Zacian seems to be a popular first pick, and I don't hate it, but you got the Inteleon that can be coming out on the other side now.
Yep, that's pretty terrifying in its own right. I mean, datboiMuk's played a mean Inteleon. Last time we saw him, it was on Snipe Shot, and there we go. It is lined up. It feels like Muk's whole purpose, I'm going to say it, in life, has been to prove you wrong about your Snipe Shot takes. So we'll see if this time's the tournament to do it.
Hey, you know what? I'm always down to be proven wrong, because I think Toon said it best. We are reaching peak Unite when Snipe Shot becomes a good move. So
true.
I want to see it. Yeah, I want to get to the best form of Unite we can. Finally, Rhino, man after my own heart, finally selects Hoopa. We've got a real game going on here.
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure it's in their Twitter like banner pick. So you gotta pick the Pokemon if it's available. I think that's the rule. Pelipper and Unite win. All right, Blastoise, Blissey selected on the other side. Curse Team going double Defender into what YouTube's trying to pull off. All of a sudden, this Leafeon looks a whole lot harder to implement.
It sure does, but getting an Umbreon in your last two picks is surprising to say the least. And look at this. I mean, we have seen Mamoswine stocks go up from last week to this week. So, I mean, maybe that you go triple Defender, right? No shot. Zoroark getting hovered. Switched off of quickly, and Buzl's really taken to the wire. We're going with the Fire Bunny, Cinderace.
Throwback. I mean, Buzl going retro with this pick. Now, it is double attacker. One is kind of a sniper, one's a more of an ADC front to back style of game. But both of them are going to have some decent options into the other side. I think this is mostly a response to what Phil is going to be trying to accomplish. You want to do as much damage to that Pokemon before it gets into your backline, and I'm sure that Nudo is going to be rocking the Surfstoise in this game. Well, actually, they're running Top Path, so maybe they're not. Maybe they will be grabbing the Rapid Spin Water Spout.
We've seen Top Path Surfstoise, but the fact that I don't see any stacking items is kind of what surprises or would be the kind of giveaway, and of course the experience share as well, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of where we're going here. 3 experience shares on the side of Curse Team. YouTube, you are hard pressed to find one.
Oh. Also,
they might actually have 2, but YouTube and Phil specifically hates that item.
True. That's absolutely correct. Also, 2 things from chat that you should all get excited about. 1, someone's letting me know that apparently Phil is a jungler now, so maybe that's what they've been working on. And 2, Psyche's about to be running a giveaway in chat, so make sure you are paying attention to how to enter that one, and easily !join as soon as that goes live. Keep on attention if you want to grab yourself a Blaziken Unite license.
Hey, that's a good place to start. Put your GGs in the chat. Usually I like to have the code to enter these things be healing stoppage, but I've been told by some person that hates me and moved away that is too long and cumbersome.
Oh, well, we'll never know whom it is. datboiMuk chasing that last hit secure as Phil the rumors are true, has entered into the central area. Phil Yumis, brand new jungler.
Let's go. And, taking a Zacian in there, right? Man. Usually a Path Demon going into the middle here, going to make sure that thing gets real big, but YouTube putting tons of pressure on early onto CT here, and now they're forced to fight on their pad, and Nudo's going to have to get that spacing. They're able to get that, but the K opener over to YouTube there in the bottom path. Vulpix going to take over to Ninetales here in short order after they get that KO.
Yep, we are attempting to do so. Nudo taking a decent amount of damage, but the little bit of healing that Kira is able to support them with seems to be enough. Buzl with the early rotation into the bottom path, trying to prevent Sam and Rhino from hitting their evolutions. A really good call out from them. They see that level advantage in the bot path. They're going to just try to, for lack of better words, step on the neck and press.
Yeah, didn't quite get it done though. Muk's sitting at level 4. They need to tick over quickly. Good thing is their final evo's at 7, so they don't have a long way to go, but they need to get that train rolling a little bit. Meanwhile, YouTube's gobbling up this goal zone, and they're putting tons of pressure on Curse, as we still got a poor Squirtle, and that shell is shattered, as now Kira's trying to pick up some Chaos energy that they can't get stacked on, but they are getting tons of damage rained in. Solar Blade hits them, and Chansey is just left by their lonesome here, and I'm surprised they haven't been sent to the Pokemon Center to get back to work.
Oh, look at this. Buzl not even doing damage to their blue buff, instead trying to knock out this Hoopa before they could steal it away. Would not be surprised to see Akeelo reappear as they do now, but the blue buff is secured by Buzl. A well-timed boosted auto attack from the Cinderace secures that KO, but, well, Akeelo not on the menu today.
No, not at all. And they decide not to overextend their welcome. They don't go back through there. Unfortunately, the Surf was just kind of a bit ill-timed, maybe used a little too early, and should have been saved to try and prevent Akeelo from going back through the portal. Hindsight is forever 2020 Zoinks. And meanwhile, YouTube's looking real good early.
That's a hard one to land. I mean, those Surf knockups, to time them perfectly to stop Hoopa portals, not an easy test. They can be done, though. Definitely some of the best players are capable of pulling that off, and poor Nudo. Just these damage numbers from these early power spiking Pokemon are so tough for Squirtle to even defend against in some of these scenarios.
Yeah, and meanwhile, I mean, Rhino and Sam have been fighting on their pad, but ultimately doing a pretty good job stemming the tide of Cursed here, and that's a long-range Solar Blade. I think that was the last frame that thing could have hit, using their two-step coming through. Usually that's a quick KO. That Solar Blade doesn't find any purchase here. datboiMuk still playing at range. They're level 6. They desperately want that level 7 Zoinks. They want it in a bad way. They're still reining in points here, getting their stacks up. And now Cursed has to sit on the pad. Meanwhile, the basement Reggie is here.
Yeah, Regice has appeared on the map, so those targets are going to be chasing after. Phil looking for the Squirtle on the top path yet again. Buzl dealing damage from range relatively safe thanks to the amazing spacing that Aznable's been able to get them. Big Egg Bomb falls a little bit short of that reset.
No, but Curse getting this is huge. Snipe Shot is online now, and if Muk can line up a couple targets, they got a good shot. 2 players down, they're going to keep going through. They did get a quick KO on the first side. They're going to try and get Akeelo here. They can't dip back through. Snipe Shot clips Leafeon, and the Cinderace closed the door. Buzl's heating up, quite literally, looking like a magician pulling a rabbit out of a hat here. Finally showing up to the scene. Going for the reset is Phil. They're going to pop back through because they want the smoke, and they've got a fire Cinderace in their sights here. Muk is going to do a good job screening here, and ultimately Cursed with, I think, winning that exchange.
Absolutely. Really cool engagement. Obviously, we had YouTube with kind of an initial push towards that goal zone that looked really, really good from them. But I think Buzl being able to dodge the Leafeon Solar Blade with an eject button, or at least the majority of the damage of it, was the biggest moment to happen in that fight. Cinderace is able to just farm up and get back to that team fight quickly, and actually Uzi taking some really aggressive angles on the Cinderace. Not afraid about the enemy Pokemon on YouTube popping back out of portals. They just want to get as close as they can with their A button.
Yeah, keep in mind that Nudo was actually left by their lonesomes. That Cursed effort down in the bottom path was done with 4 players. All right, come on, Snipe Shot. Come on, Snipe Shot.
That's 2!
Let's go. I'll tell you what, the move does look pretty darn cool when you're actually hitting something here. Now we've got a Bliss Assistance back on top of Buzl. Buzl's ready to rain in damage against this Ice type here. They are type advantaged in the Classic game, but actually forced to peel back. They want this Regieleki just getting in there as SoSadSam. They're pushed with the Surf, and it's secured by who else but getting yucky with Mucky out here. We got another move. We got a Alolan Ninetales down, and Cursed is going a heck of a pushback. They're down by 90 on the scoreboard, but they are taking W's in the KO zone here. And Cursed, I mean, I like what they're doing, Zoinks.
Absolutely. A really rocky start to this game, but as soon as they found a lead, it feels like we found a snowball. I mean, Buzl already at level 12 rushes through the enemy central area to try to starve Phil of any more of those buffs that the Zacian's trying to seek out. Amazing little stop to that, and now they get the early damage on a Registeel. It's going to be on YouTube to try to find a way in.
Find one indeed, and they might be able to get in there here. Secured by Muk again. Uzl's pulling back, but they get KO'd in short order. So does the Blissey, and now the pressure's on. Phil's trying to find another target. They want Muk in a bad way. They're going to try and get it. Rings are unbound, and that's going to be the pressure they can put on. Going invisible and stunned real quick as Muk. They dive through to the wall using that little sticky action here to get there. KO streak of 2 for them, and they still haven't been dispatched with here as Muk is trying to put the screws to Akeelo, and Akeelo is sent packing.
I know we call them James Pond, but it's feeling a little more John Wick from Muk today. I mean, just a KO streak of 4. Give them the Quadra as they just tear through Team YouTube. datboiMuk and a Duncan 50. It's a 42-point overdunk for Cursed Team right now. CT on a wild lead in our game number 1.
I mean, yeah. I mean, they were down by 90 in that first big push, and they pulled that thing back. And listen, this is the beginning of me being a snipe shot believer. And it just took Muk 2 weeks to make me get there. Now, finally, Muk, I don't think he's missed one so far. So as long as they keep that up, this move's looking pretty damn good. A lot of points and good overdunk here. 35-point special there for YouTube. They're shrinking that lead, but they're still behind as Akeelo tries to get their points in. But Snipe Shot's going to be kind of eyed up and lined up. That's the big question. Buzl's looking for an opportunity, and Akeelo's going to get out of dodge.
The hesitancy to chase down Hoopa is just so large. Like, well, I could, but then, I mean, they're just gonna go away. So it's just not really worth the resources. We still at 14 though, and I love this macro play from CT, breaking both of these first tier goal zones as quickly as they possibly could. Yeah, it was honestly, it feels like a cherry on top, the fact that they were able to get as big of an overdunk in the bottom path as they were able to. Obviously shutting down that Hoopa mobility so well from Team YouTube. Now all of a sudden Akeelo's barely using their portals for mobility and instead is trying to just use them for resets.
Aznable bought just enough time. Finally, the basement Reggie hits the map, but Cursed is here to stay here.
Oh.
Put in a blender as the Blastoise, and the shell shattered. I mentioned that before. Rhino's trying to catch the reset. They get KO'd by a snipe shot very quickly. datboiMuk's lining up their next target. It's Leafeon. They get gobbled up in tandem with Buzl. Now Buzl's on top of this Regirock, and YouTube is forced to retreat as that Leafeon's going to be back after Rayquaza hits the map here. Can they catch more? They have to come back through. They try to use their Unite move. The Snow Globe is out. 2 players out for YouTube. Curse is coming through. Slow Beam on top of Phil. And all of a sudden, Curse just expended their Bliss Assistance. They've still got 3 Unite moves and they're into the middle. The rings are unbound. Akeelo's trying to pull the team through. They're moving through. They got the stuns down. But the rip is on. Rayquaza is about 30%. Are they going to close the door on it? Rhino's trying to mean guard a target. We got a Hydro Typhoon kick it out. And it's the Blizzy that takes it out for Curse. Nice little look by Kira to seal it up. And all of a sudden, YouTube finds themselves on the backside of a nightmare, and more importantly, on the backside of a snipe shot in Talion.
Shout out to Cursed Team for making a scary scenario work out like that. I mean, you're flipping in front of a Zacian because they were able to get back in time. That is no easy task. The Unite move from this Pokemon is so absurdly strong, but they're able to make it work regardless. Buzl receives that Bliss Assistance and it easily creates a 2 KO advantage in that final stretch, which gives them a lot of opportunities. Nudo gets KO'd at the start of that team fight, which is a bit concerning, but the fact that they were back for the final stretch and able to stop key targets like that Leafeon, I think were the big plays there.
Good old Muk down for 46 seconds, baby. They might as well set their controller down and start looking at the stat sheet, because that was one hell of a game out of datboiMuk. I'll tell you what, I'm stacked with Muk. I've stacked with Muk a couple times, and he's pretty loud on the comms. And you know what he says to me? He says, "Hey, Dubes, can you stop doing that?" So there you go. Same message from the top players over and over again. Hydro Typhoon comes out, but we're throwing everything in the kitchen sink here in the kitchen sink. Well, it must be made out of styrofoam because it's doing no damage out here. Kurt's going to be taking game 1.
I certainly hope so, because I already adjusted the score line. However, YouTube, if they make a push, it would be a little concerning for me. But yeah, CT with a really good start to this matchup. I mean, it felt like YouTube had a great 3 minutes at the beginning. It really did. I was like worried about the Phil Zacian jungle, but in the end, the shutdown is there for Cursed Team. And well, a Cinderace is in the winning position yet again, Dube Snacks. Feels like it's been forever since I could say that.
Listen, I like where we're at right now, Zoinks. I really like where we're at. Tell you what, shout out to Cursed Team. Shout out to datboiMuk, and the snipe shot in Talion looked real schmoovy out there. I mean, the last time we saw it have this type of performance was actually in the hands of Lutano, where they got that penta early on. And TTV lost that game because I don't think another snipe shot hit its mark after that. Muk said, you know what, I'm just going to hit every target all game long, you know, make Dubes a believer here. And guess what? Tell you what, Princess Juju in chat says those snipes work so clean. And that is correct. They were pressure washing the other team. Squeaky clean.
Yeah. datboiMuk, 97,000 damage. I believe it was 13 KOs on that final stat sheet as well. So, yeah, very impressive showing, obviously.
If they weren't down for an hour and a half, after that got KO'd near the end of the game. Those numbers, I mean, that would have been 115 easy.
Yeah.
Because they would have just been sitting in the pocket on these goal zone sieges. At that point, I can hit those snipe shots because you're just lining up the goal zone and just letting those things rain in.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, listen, I love being wrong. It's my favorite thing because it means the game is changing, and that means I need to learn more stuff. So shout out to Muk. First step to recovery of my snipe shot hatred has begun. My journey has started.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you were on that path now, because it is a very exciting spot to be, because this move is so freaking cool. I think we said that when we were casting Underdunk last week. Like, it is so fun to watch, and when Inteleon has enough space created by Aznable, even by Uzi just doing damage kind of on these off angles, while Muk can just kind of square up baseline and fire these shots, it's a really good damage tandem duo, so I'm impressed. I'm really impressed.
I'm trying to find the exchange we had after last week, because I think would you respond? No, it wasn't. It was after they won Underdunk last Thursday. Okay, I found it. Muk, first place in Underdunk 18. Shout out to my super crack teammates, whatever. Then you responded, y'all are main characters, sick run. Keep going back and forth. Fair warning, I was honest about many snipe shots you hit or did not hit. And Muk responded, do you know about the auto-aim technology? To which I responded, bro, do you know about the auto-aim technology? Because he wasn't hitting anyone in the Underdunk. I mean, he was like a 12% conversion rate. I did the math. I got with Joker and I was like, yo, can you do this for me? Can you do the stats on these snipe shots? Anyways, long story short, love Muk, great game. YouTube finding themselves. I love this. I mean, if you looked at these teams off the rip and you said Curse Team and you Psycho were gonna be in our finals, and then one of them is gonna be in week 4. Come on, you can't write that. Love that action.
Yeah, they're going up against really impressive teams as well. So just a reminder, in week number 1, it was Goat that won that game, who had Rex on it, had Overlord on that team, just a ridiculous powerhouse roster was on that. It was that winner. And then last week winner, Doomsnice, do you remember who won last week?
Do I remember? No, of course not.
Okay, let me look back really fast.
Was it Exile? No, Spinal. Duh, Spinal.
Spinal one. Thank you so much. Yes, Spinal one. Thank you, chat, for reminding us about how our series is going.
I said it before Buzl put in chat. I said it before Buzl put in chat.
Yeah, believable or not, it's up to you to decide. Either way, Spinal and Goat so far, and we're gonna crown another victor tonight. I mean, these two teams are both looking really fantastic, but I am gonna say we're gonna need a new look from YouTube in the game number 2, certainly. I mean, they brought some exciting stuff. They brought out the Phil Jungle. It was definitely a showcase, but it didn't feel quite up to snuff. It didn't feel like Phil was hitting as hard as he normally does on this roster when they're playing something like a defender. Maybe you keep Phil there. I'm not too sure, but either way, the Zacian really felt outclassed by the range damage of Inteleon Cinderace.
Yeah, I mean, again, when they ain't missing, it really helps out. And of course, credit to Aznable in those final throws before Rayquaza hit the map. They recognized their opportunity. They knew that Phil was going to be the problem here. You busted out the slow beam. The follow-up from the team was there. Cursed followed up in quick succession, eliminated Phil immediately, and that was the pivot that they needed, and they immediately jumped on Ray, right? You saw the Bliss Assistance hit Buzl. You saw the slow beam come out on top of Phil. The follow-up was there. The damage was there. And then all of a sudden it became like, let's rip this thing off the map. Let's see what we can do.
Yeah.
And guess what? They delivered, so shout out.
Yep. I mean, we got to shout out when people are in fact delivering, and so far, some good showings, what they've been able to pull off. So impressive stuff. Also, updates for everybody in chat. We're going to be starting our game 2 in honestly just 3 or 4 seconds here, but YouTube is going to stay on the left side of your screen. Since they lost game number 1, they have elected to stay in that first pick position. So we're going to see that one again. Doomsnice, I'm not going to lie to you, I would be shocked to see Inteleon not get banned by Team YouTube. I think that would be, for me personally, an immediate first ban. Let the Urshifu go through. I'd rather deal with that on the enemy side than have to deal with Mux and Inteleon yet again.
Yeah, you can't argue with the results of game one. I mean, that thing was an absolute menace,
Yeah.
and there was no response. I mean, they had no
Yeah.
ability to close that gap. Even when they did get on top of Muck, they did a great job getting out of trouble there. And I mean, they literally had Muck on 1 HP. Akeelo was in the back line trying to Phantom Force to get that last deal of damage in, and it just didn't pan out. So, yeah, take that Inteleon out of the equation, no chance. And it looks like they're just scatter-shotting a bunch of stuff, but it might be the Urshifu again.
Okay. Well, they don't need to take our advice, Dupe Snacks. We are not contracted or paid by them, technically. Yet, I will also add. However, I do think our advice was sound, but the Urshifu strategy for YouTube is obviously pre-planned and pre-thought out. Sometimes when you head into tournament settings like this, your plan just feels a little rocky off the start, but when you double down onto it, maybe you can find results in game 2. That's also an option.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's how you combat it here. You let it through, and then you take it for yourself. On the other hand, Curse has the opportunity to grab Zacian. If YouTube was high enough on Zacian to pick it first, I don't think you can let it get through here. I'll be honest, but they're going Slowbro, Blissey. Sure. So right. Umbreon stocks falling, I guess.
Yeah, certainly. It's an interesting one to fall. I mean, Mean Look is so flippin' strong, but I think this Slowbro has just been too good in too many scenarios in these past few weeks, especially when you're pretty confident. I mean, we haven't seen too much field jungle yet, right? I mean, we have seen it a few times, but when you can shut down the Zacian with one click of a button, maybe it's a good option. Now, if Curse can take the Zacian in this scenario, I really, really like it, Dupe Smacks.
Yeah, now all of a sudden it's completely different, right? And Muck is getting essentially a pseudo snipe shot with the solar beam here.
Sure.
So I kind of like, and I don't know if Curse has, I know this team has kind of joined together at the last minute, and we appreciate them so much. Up a game right now, I kind of like. Let's go. I mean, wow. I love it.
The back to back.
YouTube, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, pick Gengar. Pick Charizard. At this point, I don't know.
Yeah, as I said, at this point, I mean, what do we like? Why am I even trying to strategize here? Just pick whatever. Pick whatever. I mean, I love the. Are we going to see a Crystal going in? Are we going to see the Jungle Crustle? Is this where we're at now?
No. Would you? Oh my gosh. Do you think Phil does it? Is Phil streaming? Someone go to Phil's chat. Ask him if he's going Jungle Crustle. Gamma wants to let them cook. I mean, we're allowing it. We are not stopping the match as much as we maybe should to ask if all of our players are okay and not under duress, but we are not stopping. We are going to continue and see where these Pokemon end up. I mean, Buzl running the anti-heal kit on the Gardevoir, Muck going to be shooting from range. These were both great options to try to shut down Umbreon and Crustle. I mean, you need something that can shred HP. It's the same scenario as a Lapras, right? You can't burst that Pokemon, so instead you need to have an immense amount of chip damage. That is going to be a pretty solid amount.
Yeah, or is the other solution here you just try and Rock Tomb them in, right?
Okay.
You just try and lock them down. Okay, Crustle's going top. I just slid into Phil's chat and I just caps lock Jungle Crustle. Let's go.
Okay.
So that was immediately shut down, and there was no smile or jokes there. So I think YouTube is on one here. So we'll see how they go.
So it's Dragonite Jungle then is what we're looking at, or Inteleon, but I think it's probably Dragonite.
Yeah, I mean, Inteleon's great in the bottom path. Like we said, its final evolution's at 7, which is phenomenal, right? You just have to kind of get it over the hump to 5, and you're in good shape. I mean, that Water Gun Secure is insane. Yep. You don't have to feel like you have too much pressure there. So I can respect that switch up. It looks like no shot. We got a 1-1-3? 1-1-3?
1-1-3 so far, but I think it's Akeelo invade. I think we got baited out by the Akeelo invade in this specific scenario, but still a good looking composition. I mean, last game the Akeelo invade was certainly stressful to deal with, if not successful. So we'll have to see if Akeelo can pull it off 2 games in a row.
Well, this time there's no real cover from Cursed coming out here.
Yeah.
Before they had Aznable really pivot, and it looks like Akeelo's going to get a KO, and that is not what you want. So YouTube feeling it early here, and that's off the back of a great Hoopa invade. And why aren't more teams selecting this Pokemon Zoinks?
Questions that I am, at this point, extremely confident we'll never have the answer to. If we haven't had them in months, I can't imagine we're going to be getting it anytime soon. Akeelo so far content with just the blue buff, but now that Buzl's back, all of a sudden the Hoopa getting that hunger in their eyes once again as they are chasing down this red buff. And they get it with the portal.
And blink out of existence. Are they going to pop back through? Of course they are. Why not? Cause more static.
Why
Love that
not?
energy. Rhino's been playing great in the last 2 weeks. You and I have gotten to cast them quite a bit. So, I mean, keep that energy humming. Rhino's trying to level their game up, and it's working right now. Tons of pressure on. Buzl's at half HP. Kira's getting eviscerated right now. Fortunately, they make it back because Akeelo kind of lets them off the hook. But YouTube looking strong early, despite the score not really being anything to write home about.
Yeah, absolutely. datboiMuk is going Giga Drain, so I wasn't sure if they would. I mean, there's not a whole lot of dive on the enemy side, but despite that, Muk is going to be going for that healing option. I mean, maybe at this point, Sludge Bomb just not too much of a potential threat. That being said, they do have Blissey on their roster. They could go for that powerful, just Omega healing composition and go all in on the Pedal Drain.
Yeah, the Giga Dance Pedal Train. It would give them a decent front line to complement the Zacian and, of course, get the space for Gardevoir. Nice little pickup KO there by Cursed, of course, as Aznable gets credit for it. They're in this goal zone. They're getting tons of points in. But, you know, we kind of mentioned that, but of course we just see the Solar Beam roll out here. So really that's going to try and be insulating Muk from the collapse on them, right? Trying to keep them standing so the Blissey can give them the support they need. They're trying to find a Solar Beam comes through. Damage is raged out, and that's an outraged Dragonite, and Phil is going in. Almost gets the KO there as Buzl is on just the sliverest of HP, and it almost feels like that's the texture of these two games, Zoinks. Just on the edge of being knocked out, but not quite.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, who needs healing? Who needs HP? Well, certainly neither of these teams. Nudo Zacian has arrived to contest SoSadSam, who's currently invisible, but not for long, as that boosted Sacred Sword is just going to, well, make that Pokemon vanish.
Vanish they did indeed. And that's the thing about Inteleon. It might be invisible, but it's not a true invisibility. You can actually see, it's kind of like the Predator digital camo, right? You can still kind of see it a little bit. Outraged Dragonite gets buckled again as they're sent packing here. KO streak of 2 with who else but Muk as they're collapsing this goal zone. Let's see if they can do the right battle math here. They're going to get 8 in. They're getting an overdunk of 28 points.
Sheesh. I'm very surprised at how little we had from Team YouTube showing presence at that bottom Reggie. I would have liked to see quite a bit more, especially with Dragonite at level 9. You got that Unite move from Fwii. You can kind of get to the backline immediately via Orbit. So I'm surprised we didn't try to pull that one off. datboiMuk caught in a mean look, though, and Fwii tries to get all mad at them, but a huge Bliss Assistance from Kira is going to line up that KO.
I'll tell you what, this outraged Dragonite ain't it, Chief. Rhino getting bullied a little bit here as they are absolutely dusted. Another KO streak of 2 for Muk. As Aznable's just able to peel down, get some space. Akeelo has to Phantom Force out as they're stuck all by their lonesome. The Crit's still trying to get it done, trying to shove the team back with the X Scissors, but really all it did is allow Curse to peel back the way they want. Buzl gets collapsed on. This is a good KO for them. Good start. Inteleon getting on the board. That's a ghost Pokemon. We haven't seen anything out of SoSadSam this game, so it's time for them to come alive without a doubt.
Oh, wow. datboiMuk dropping the Verdant Anger on the enemy goal zone, and they get 1 KO. Sam goes down, but Rhino and Akeelo have so much HP thanks to that shielding, and Fwii can brawl out for, well, not very long because Buzl shows back up. That special attack damage absolutely carving through the Dragonite, but Phil starts cooking. Not quite enough to find the KO.
Bruh, outraged Dragonite out here looking like Glass Joe. It's getting absolutely folded. I mean, it's like a sneeze from a Gardevoir, and that thing is sent to the Shadow Realm. I don't even know what I'm watching here, Zoinks. But I'll tell you what, Fwii needs to make this Dragonite come alive quickly if I'm going to be flipping my tune on that Pokemon.
It's weird because with a Pokemon like that, with a heavy brawler and in tandem with a Hoopa, you'd expect them to be hitting portals coming back, but that synergy also hasn't seemed to be quite there yet. Nudo able to dodge away thanks to the agility to taking them out of the stun, but they're getting chased down by Fwii. They take one KO, but they are immediately traded out by datboiMuk.
Nice X-Scissor by Phil, pinning Muck onto the wall here. They're going to try and get the follow-up. The stuns are out, and they do get a quality KO there. Okay, 2 down for Curse. Now YouTube's smothering this goal zone a little bit. Can they get the spacing they need? Inteleon Unite is out. They're going to find all their targets. Aznable eats the Bliss Assistance, and they're going to try and roll forward here to get the spacing they need. YouTube kind of settles down on the push as they try and get out. Nice little dash by Sam to not get gobbled up by the Surf. And all of a sudden, a nice little exchange by YouTube. They got some quality KOs, but can't make a difference on the scoreboard, 200-75.
Yeah, if we could get this score in rather quickly, but instead they're opting for getting more wild Pokemon, getting more experience, and then, of course, in tandem, taking it away from Nudo. So they make that quick math exchange in their head, and honestly, it's probably the better direction. They've been clearing their central area basically on repeat, but it looks like they're actually sharing it with Sam now. Sam going to be taking all those ball toys. Doesn't matter, though. Fwii will still be hitting that level 13.
Yeah, I mean, it needs level 13, 14, 15. Like, it needs everything. Like, if it had a 16, it would need that too. So let's see. I mean, like we said, we're cooking in the kitchen, but maybe need to use a recipe book here a little bit, YouTube. You're getting the break speed off you. 3 minutes, but that's not that's a good start. Jumping on top of Buzl, quick KO, and all of a sudden, Fwii making a difference here. Aznable caught in between 3 players, and they're putting the pressure on. Can they get the KO? Certainly, Fwii wants it. Fwii gets it. KO Shrink a 2. And finally, Outrage Dragon...
Hello! Someone somewhere wipes off screen and datboiMuk shows up. That being said, Fwii and Sam are able to take them down, but the reinforcements are here. Nudo looking a little weak. I don't know, something must have happened on the top side in some kind of exchange, but 2 ambushes happen in that fight, 1 for either side, and I feel like when the cards fall down, it's still Curse Team with a large point advantage.
Large point advantage indeed here. As YouTube, I'm kind of like shocked that they tried to get on top of Aznable and didn't at least pivot some players to go score there, because they missed a golden opportunity to get some points in. This Registeel is quickly being taken off the map. Pot shots and a long-range solar beam from who else but Muck, getting themselves another objective. Rhino's trying to get out of dodge because Rayquaza has hit the map.
Oh, Phil tries to go into that tall grass, but Aznable's shutting them out, but that does give vision. They peel back to get that Hoopa reset portal. Everybody from both sides full HP and ready to fight. All Unite moves ready to go, but the positioning advantage truly looks in charge of Curse Team.
Their positioning here, they know where Fwii is, and they're kind of jumping. A nice damage reined in by Buzl here. And Fwii needs to get topped off on HP as well, because they're going to need Fwii to get a big-time counter engage on top of Nudo to make this magic happen. Caught in a mean look is Aznable. Solar Beam gobbles up Rhino as they keep pushing and pushing.
Good defensive Hoopa portal from Akeelo. It's far enough away from Kira that there's no chance of an Egg Bomb stopping their reset. So really good heads-up play by Akeelo to call for their team to back up.
They're on top of Aznable, or Nudo, excuse me. Long-range Bliss Assistance comes into the middle. The portal is down. 2 players are reset. Not caught in that is the Dragonite, but they get caught by the Solar Beam and the Blissey in tandem here. Finally, the stuns are out, and they need to get a ton of those if they're going to leverage this. Fairy Singularity doesn't really catch anybody into the blender as Kira's still playing far forward. 3 players on as Kirsta keeps putting the pressure on, and Aznable is scrapping up in the back line here with the defender player. Akeelo's moving through. Kirsta doesn't need this Rayquaza. It doesn't even matter. The whole team is aced. Holy smokes. That outraged Dragonite might be angry, but looking more like Mr. Furious for Mystery Men. You might be mad, but you ain't actually got superpowers, Chief. And Kirst gonna take that Rayquaza, gonna get a bunch of burgers in, and force YouTube to surrender.
Wow, Team YouTube taking an early exit in our Unite Mike's Mayhem week number 3 as Curse Team have just taken this game 2-0. Unbelievable. CT with a dominant performance in that game.
Yeah, I mean, Muck getting in there, of course. But, I mean, this is a true team effort, right? I mean, Nudo really became a... kind of like a support damage role, right?
Yeah.
It was really just in there, getting the front line, set up Buzl, set up Muck, and really get the spacing that those 2 players need. ultimately, I mean, we never saw the Dragonite Unite move come out to get into the back line. And maybe it's because they didn't have the high octane firepower that they needed to actually close out those KOs. But look at this. I mean, Cursed, team made this morning, comes through, dispatches a world's qualifying squad in YouTube, and finds themselves in Unite Mike's Mayhem Week 3 finals.
Yeah, looking amazing so far today. I feel like what YouTube was trying to put together with that composition was a way to shut down Buzl in the enemy central area. They were, I would say, successful in that regard. They had a couple of shutdowns. Dragonite chasing them down, those micro stuns, Gardevoir's never getting away. Crustl's mega stuns, if Gardevoir's caught out, are just too tough to deal with. Those were all great options, but the problem is, Mux on Venusaur, they're just scaling to the moon near the end game when they're kind of untouched. Kira just makes sure they're constantly supporting that attack carry, and well, in the end, you just trust in Muk for that game number 2, and well, it was all Curse team that time. And if you really liked that team, don't worry, you're going to be watching them play in just a few minutes against Mew Psycho 100 in our grand finals game. That's right, week number 3 of season 4 of Mayhem is Cursed team versus Mew Psycho 100. I can't wait. We'll see you on the other side of this break.